This has to be one of the weirdest anime I have ever seen to date. Like, I've seen a lot of weird anime. I've seen a lot of questionable anime. I've seen a lot of H anime. And I will tell you what, this is by far one of the weirdest things I have ever seen, and it's just like, why? Just straight up, why? So, before I go any further, you're probably wondering if this is your first time ever seeing this series exactly. What's its name? What's it about? Why do I think it's weird? And if you have seen it, you're probably wondering what took you so long to really label it weird. Well, let's get some context there. So basically, this series is called Inukai, or My Life as Inukai-san's Dog. So, with that title alone, it's very clear you're already getting into a weird category, because it's like, okay, we are going to be basically following a guy that was turned into a dog and is living with basically his school sweetheart, someone he has a crush on, so to speak, and he has the POV of a dog. So when you think about it like that, instantly it's like, yeah, this is gonna be weird. But, I mean, obviously, with that overall concept, with the themes of that, there is a lot of thought-provoking and interesting directions the story could take with that. And I want to give some examples here. For one, obviously, if you're a guy, or girl, that was turned into a dog, and you were with someone else that you cared about, imagine just the mental state of the person having to now be a dog. I mean, just having to deal with the average day-to-day life now being a dog. For instance, you no longer can really do anything that you want to do. For instance, if you want to, let's say, browse a phone or play games or watch a movie or whatever, you can't. You don't have thumbs. You don't have the ability to move around like you normally would. You can't have a proper conversation with a human being. So there's a lot of things that just straight up, you no longer can do if you're turned into a dog. So the overall psychological aspect of that, there's a lot that can be dived into, and I think that is one of the fundamental things I think that the series could have really have done. And there has been some elements in some episodes of Inukai that tries to dive into that aspect, but not too deeply, because obviously what the series really is about is basically fan service and ecchi. And once again, it's one of those series that it's fine. It's what the series is about. Okay, I'm not gonna really harp on it because it's very clear from the get-go that it was supposed to be something like that. But what I'm saying is in terms of the concept, there is a lot of depth that could be dived into. For instance, to really dive into the characters, to dive into kind of what's going on with their mental state, some very interesting things. And eventually, if the character that, is taking care of the dog finds out that the dog was once a human, just imagine the overall revelations of that. It'd be an interesting plot. It would. It really would. But anyways, let's get into why I think it's weird. So basically, I only watched one episode of the series, and I reviewed or gave a first impressions of it a while ago, many months ago, basically around in January. I talked about how the series legit is just strange. It's like, we're following the POV perspective of a girl with her dog, and obviously, it's very sus to a degree, because of just some of the angles, POV shots, etc. It's like, yes, so it's, incredibly weird. But, anyways, I sat down last night, and I decided to watch it, because I was just like, you know what? The anime season is wrapping up. I'm catching up with a bunch of anime. Like, I'm catching up with, Magical Revolution. I'm catching up with, let's say, Angel and all that. I was like, you know what? Inukai is also something I should catch up with because it, has only 10-minute episodes, and that's also including, the opening and ending song, so it's around, a 7-minute episode. So it's not really that hard to catch up, so to speak. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'll watch the show, let's dive into the rabbit hole, let's see just how depraved this series really can get. I got about 4 episodes in, and I was just like, yo, what is going on here? There's a whole scene to where, our MC, and I can't show it. And let me explain why I can't show those scenes. Because I gladly would like to have, content on the side. But I can't really scroll around these episodes properly because, let's just say, it's uncensored. Now, the version I have is uncensored. But, obviously, there's probably a censored version out there. But, there's a lot of... Yeah, I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but you have the, a lot of fan service, so to speak, that really just goes back to the high school DxD days. The thing is, I'm really scared to kind of click around in this episode, because it's there is a lot of questionable scenes, so to speak, with POV shots, etc. It's difficult, and so do forgive me for that. I'm trying to play it very safe. But the point is that I want to talk about, the main theme of this episode, which... yeah, as you can see right there. Yeah, that's all I'm going to show. It's a very, how can I say, bizarre episode. Like, legitimately, it's a very bizarre episode, and it's very clear that the writer of the series put his, like, interest on display, especially with this episode, like, to the whole cafe. Like, let's get some context here. So, basically, the point of this episode, the latest episode of, Inukai, as you can clearly already see, is that our main female character, she opens up a maid cafe that's, for a school festival. It's dog themed, clearly. Dog series. And so, to spice things up, basically, the cafe's full with dogs. People come down, they get to eat, have a fun time. And the thing is that, to make this a little bit different, there's a bunch of dogs there that will lick the feet of the guests that sit down at the table. And I already showed you kind of like a brief scene of that. So, it's very clear just how there's interest, or the writer of the series puts his fetishes, so to speak, on display. And it's just like, wow. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say. It's weird. Like, this series is very bizarre. It's very weird. And I'm not gonna lie to you. The art and animation, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Like, I legit can't believe I'm gonna say this. The art and animation for even the scenes in this episode is not bad. It beats, like, a lot of high-quality H anime. It beats a lot of anime from this season. And I'm just like, why? Why are they going so hard for a series like this? Why? Why? Like, oh my goodness. Like, I know for a fact if I was to dive deep and really search for probably something weird, this is probably not the weirdest thing out there, but it's just like, oh my goodness, dude. I did not realize just how depraved this series really was until I sat down and caught up with it. I'm a little bit sad, though, that the series doesn't dive into more of the psychological aspects. I know that's my fault. Like, I know for a fact it's my fault for believing something like that would happen, because obviously it's been very clear since the beginning it wasn't going to be that, but it's just, because we got little hints of it, it's just sad we won't ever get those deeper aspects that really could add so much more to the series, instead of just this, low-hanging fruit, so to speak. I mean, besides that, though, yeah, Inukai, man, my life as Inukai's dog is interesting and weird. That's all I'm gonna say on it. I wanted to talk about this because, I don't know, man, like, I know everybody's, like, talking about the next anime season, people are talking about other series that's airing this season, but, this is one of those shows that are very depraved, and very fan service heavy, that's just like, why? Why is this a thing? But, I'll leave it there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. You all have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.